Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Prospects of the Land, just the original two today. My name is Nate Pope. He is Taven McCauley. We are brought to you live tonight as part of the Baseball Banter broadcast. Thank you to Jeremy Larquente for everything that he does grow in the sport of baseball. His team, that includes us, covering the sport, and we're ramping things up here. We'll do a little guard spring training talk. We'll talk about some things going on within the minor leagues and give a little preview into the WBC as well. The World Baseball Classic starts up here in not too long at all. In fact, this week we got some international baseball that's going to be taking place and some guys that are going to go start to join their international teams. Taven, it is also a busy time for high school basketball here in the great state of Ohio. I know that's what you've been busy with. And Ethan Greenberg, who is not here with us tonight, actually just called a tournament game for Macon Randolph. They ended up making their conference final. That's the girls team. And I'm going to look up right now and see if they won. See if they brought home a ship.
It's a good question. What do we think?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know D3 basketball that well, but I'm pulling it up right now. Oh, lost by 11. That's tough. That's all right, though. But, yeah, busy time for high school basketball here in the great state of Ohio. Taven, I know you are stupendously busy with everything you got going on.
Yeah, it's been fun. Obviously, this week is, when everything kicks off, right? Especially in the high school and college. Obviously, we got about 2 weeks till March Madness. It's going to be fun. It's a real fun month coming off of a February where there really wasn't a lot. March here, ton of baseball, ton of basketball. Should be a lot of fun.
I also do want to say I got that wrong, by the way. It's Randolph-Macon, not Macon-Randolph. Randolph-Macon tied at the end of one, tied at the end of two. End of three, they were down by 2, and they got outscored by 9 in the fourth quarter. I would be curious to see how that happened, actually. Probably a lot of free throws. Nope, just good, clean, old-fashioned basketball. Oh, man. 1 point game with 3:35 to go, and they didn't score the rest of the way. That sucks. Man, they had them. They were right there. All right, well, hopefully Randolph-Macon gets into the D3 national tournament. First of all, that team that they almost beat, by the way, is undefeated on the season. So there you go. Little D3 women's basketball. Didn't think you'd get that on a baseball podcast, but hey, here we are. Yeah, a lot of high school basketball got going on for me. We got one local girls team left who, I hope wins their Sweet 16 game, their regional semi game, but we'll see. We'll see. They definitely drew the better of, or I should say the worst of the two opponents that they could have played. A little upset pulled off there, but we'll see. We'll see what we got going on. Boys basketball, a lot of action going on Tuesday. So, hey, but you came here for baseball, and look, baseball season is ramping up, and our job is to report on all the happenings within the Guardians organization. Well, Taven, while, the storylines and things are not really going to be written until the season starts, we do have a lot of interesting things going on down there in the complex in Arizona. So you want to start with hitting or you want to start with pitching?
Let's go hitting. Bats were hot today.
Yeah, I know. Bats were real hot today. Even though they lost that game to Arizona, there were some bats that were hot, got down early against Colorado, ended up rallying there. Taven, there are a couple names here that we just have to highlight. Firstly, we have to highlight Travis Bazzana because we're just not going to see much more of him as he goes now to prepare with Team Australia in the WBC. So he's played in 3 games so far. That includes the games that happened earlier this afternoon. In 8 at-bats, 2 hits, did crank a homer, 4 RBIs. That's 250. The OPS is near 1,000. I know it's an extremely, extremely small sample size, but you're going to get that with everybody in the spring. And Taven, even from what I've seen from Bazzana in the field, kid looks pretty good. Again, I don't think we're going to see him at the major league level quite yet. However, that just quite simply is a guy that, might very well get his opportunity this year.
Yeah, as you said, his biggest trade obviously is that bat, and that's why he was that number 1 draft pick. And if he stays healthy, we're going to see that the entirety of this year, whether that's, at the major league club or the AAA club. I do think that we will see him 100% start out at Columbus. It's just going to be a matter of, will they want to bring him up? Because again, it goes into the whole contract manipulation and all that with
Service time and all this
Cleveland being
fun stuff.
or is he going to get a chance? I mean, at the end of last year, we saw guys like Brian Rocchio and Gabby Arias really play great toward the end. Could we see that too? Obviously, Bazzana, he's the number 1 draft pick. He's going to take one of those spots. But if those guys, are contributing in a great fashion at the beginning of the year, I think Bazzana could be in Columbus for a little bit more time.
Yeah, for sure. Some other guys that have really torn it up with the bat here. We got to talk about one of the other top prospects, Chase DeLauter. He's been in 3 games, 8 at bats, of the same sample size as Travis Bazzana. But listen to this: he's gone 5 for 8. He's got a homer, which he hit today, and 2 doubles, 3 ribbies. Folks, he's hitting 625, and the OPS is the highest out of any Guardian in the spring, except Jonah Advincula. But he played in 1 game and went 2 for 2. I mean, Travis Bazzana, of course, is doing some really good stuff, but Chase DeLauter, man, he's going to make this roster conversation really interesting, because if he keeps this up for the rest of spring, I mean, you're going to have yourself a really intriguing conversation when you have to try to build this roster.
Yeah, 100%. Like you just said, I mean, DeLauter, a guy who went yard today, has obviously the power.
And it didn't even look like he swung that hard. Like, he got jammed inside through the bat at the opponent, went over the fence.
His swing looks like a check swing. It does not look like, again, even when it leaves the bat, it's going far. But it does. I mean, this dude has incredible power. The bat, obviously, is his best weapon. It's just a matter of, is he going to be able to stay healthy? Now, if he does, I think we have one heck of a case for your opening day outfield. Obviously, Stephen Kwan's going to be in there. That's a lock. But the other guys in that outfield, I think it's pretty much up for grabs, if you ask me. You have George Valera. You have Chase DeLauter. You have Nolan Jones. Obviously, I would not pick Nolan Jones, but I think Nate's frozen on my end. I don't know how this looks on live. Let's figure this out. All right, on live. All right, Nate's frozen on live, so we'll keep this conversation pushing. We'll see what happens with him, but yeah, I mean, this outfield, it's going to be up for grabs. You have guys like Nolan Jones, which I don't want him to even be in this conversation, but he's going to, because he's a veteran. Nate finally back.
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Wi-Fi just ended up being weird. Again, anything goes when you're live. So,
but I mean, the argument I'm trying to make is, like, there are 5, 6, even 7 guys that have a legitimate spot for this outfield. Angel Martinez being another one. George Valera, Chase DeLauter, Nolan Jones, CJ Kayfus in the right field spot. So there's a ton of different guys, and Stephen Vogt has his work cut out for him, to say the least.
Well, and one name that you didn't bring up is, now we get to some of the surprises of spring so far. You know what? Let's pocket that name. So another guy that, again, is going to be trying to vie for one of those outfield spots, George Valera, of course, had a homer earlier in the spring, but he's gone 5 of 14. He's come across to score 3 runs, tied for second in the spring. He's hitting 357. The OPS is over 1,000. Look, folks, we get everything we're talking about right now is an extremely small sample size, and trying to do this over the course of a baseball season is going to be something different. But George Valera, man, you talk about a guy that was brought up to the big league club, given his shot, saw some ridiculously early struggles, and then just found his rhythm like that. And he's continuing that here into the spring. Again, we don't really know how much managers take into consideration, the production level. It probably is more of how they look, how's their swing, how's their more deeper analytics going. But everything seems to be well with George Valera right now. And a guy that you didn't mention that maybe you did while I was figuring out my Wi-Fi issue is Petey Halpin. The guy's gone 5 for 10. He scored 4 runs, the most of any Guardian in the spring so far. It hit a home run, has driven in 3 runs, stolen 3 bases, drawn 3 walks. I mean, the guy is doing everything right. So when you throw him into this outfield mix, it really becomes a predicament of who you start. Because if you start with the guys that are hot right now, it's DeLauder, Petey, and Valera. But of course, we know Kwan is going to be in one of those spots. So you kind of got to pick and choose your moments here.
Yeah, no doubt. Petey Halpin, another guy that, I mean, he can do it all. I mean, he runs the bases like nobody else. He's got that bat when it's on. I mean, one heck of an outfielder. I think one of us gave him the Gold Glove last year when we did our minor league awards. Again, just another guy to add to that mix. I think it ultimately is going to come down this season. It's going to come down to who's going to be able to stay healthy. I mean, we've seen that with the top guys. We've seen that with DeLauder. We've seen that with Valera. Hopefully, those guys are able to stay healthy. But if they're not, we're going to see some other guys slide into those spots. And I think Petey Halpin is definitely, you're going to see Petey Halpin this year, whether that's, somebody unfortunately goes down with an injury or he's just playing that good.
Yeah. I would agree with you, especially because of the point that Ethan has brought up before. Again, our third guy that's not with us here today due to some conflicts, calling some D3 tournament women's basketball. Love to see it. He's just going to be a monster on the base paths. Like getting him up here and getting him on base is going to be the priority, because once he's on there, he's going to run him really, really well. So the outfield's got a tough enough job to be, try to figure out. But then in the infield, again, we've already talked about Travis Bazzana. Jose Ramirez is doing Jose Ramirez things in the spring, which I don't think he's ever had a fantastic spring. This is looking like a pretty good spring for him so far. Has a couple homers in his 3 hits. Juan Brito looks, okay. I think Juan Brito can look better. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence he's going to make that opening day roster. But we've seen some moments like Milan Tolentino has a home run. Gabby Arias has looked good in moments. Same thing with Brian Rocchio. You've seen a lot of young guns get playing time here. The infield probably is a little bit more set because we know Manzo is going to be there. We know Ramirez is going to be there. I think we know Rocchio is going to be there. Maybe you can play around with Arias and try to throw in Schneemann or really whoever you want to try to throw in there. But regardless, and then you take a look at some of the other guys like Carter Kaboom has struggled. He's only gone 1 for 11. Rhys Hoskins, the recent signing, has started out his spring 0 for 6. So you're always going to get your ups with your downs. It's never a great idea to read too much into what you see in the spring, but it definitely does have some signs. Again, Rocchio's hitting near 300. He's 4 of 14. Bo Naylor is 5 of 10. So he's getting the bat hot and going early. 3 doubles, by the way, for Bo in those 5 hits. So again, you have your ups, you have your downs, but overall, I'm pretty happy with what I've seen in the spring so far from a production level, from guys who, hey, we expect, especially at the major league level, to be performing, to be getting there and ready. So
yeah,
a lot of words to say, probably not a lot, but oh well.
Yeah, like you said, when these bats are on, they're on. A name you mentioned, Schneemann, right? He played pretty dang well today. He had one heck of a double. He's making plays out, whether that be the outfield or the infield. So, that's, another advantage that this team has is, I would say, 90% of the roster, like, you could use as utility guys. These guys aren't just one position. They can go anywhere you really need them. So obviously that's a big strength. And when these bats are on like they have been throughout, spring training games, this lineup could be pretty dangerous. It'll be way better than last year.
Well, let's take a look at some of the and again, you mentioned Schneemann right there. He's been 5 of 13. Some other guys that again are not making the opening day roster, but Khalil Watson is 6 of 10. Ralphie Velasquez continues to
Oh yeah.
produce off his hot end of last season. So again, just guys to watch. But let's look at some of the disappointments from a hitting standpoint. We'll talk about, I mean, maybe not the biggest one last, but it's the most confusing. Kyle Manzardo has looked pretty poor with
Yeah.
the bat in his hand. He's 1 of 15. Granted, he's scored 3 runs every time he's gotten on base. He's come around to score, but then 5 strikeouts. He's up there with Kaboom and Kafis for highest strikeout count in the spring so far. So he's been the guy that I've seen really struggle so far, and you hope that, I mean, it's just a spring thing. He's trying to get back into the rhythm of it, and then he'll get back to doing what he's doing. I mentioned Juan Brito. I thought we were going to see a little bit more out of Brito coming into the spring. I thought he was just going to end up producing a little bit better, but from a hitting standpoint, those have been my biggest disappointments so far.
Yeah, you mentioned disappointment. Not so much on the hitting from Brito. Obviously, it's been poor. It's been his defense, and I mean, they
Yeah.
had him,
They
had him at third, and he just looked really really rough. I mean, made 3-4 errors. I mean, the broadcast was even saying it. He has not looked good. I mean, not just in the box, but obviously in the infield now. I mean, he definitely does have time to turn things around. We still have another, 3.5 weeks to go of spring training. And obviously, it's spring training after all, right? Take everything you kind of see with a grain of salt. If you want to buy into it, cool. I mean, it's up to for interpretation. It's spring training. I mean, so yeah, you mentioned Brito. I would think he's probably the number one disappointment of spring training, in my opinion, at least with the bats. And another guy, obviously, like you mentioned, is Manzardo. Obviously, we'd like to see him produce. I think he definitely will once we start getting into the season, and even in a week or two time, we'll see that production start to pick back up again. But yeah, I would say definitely you just got it right there. Burrito and Manzardo, just need to see a little bit more out of them and starting to get stuff going.
Well, now it's time to talk about one of the most confusing pieces. So Nolan Jones starts out the spring going, what was it, 2 for 2 or 2 for 3? Hit, I mean, an absolute nuke, an absolute bomb. And since then, he is 1 of 14, and he struck out 6 times. So this is the confusing part about Nolan Jones is, and I know Stephen Vogt knows this too, if you put Nolan Jones in the opening day outfield, obviously you're going to have the bad with the good. Part of the good is the fact that for the most part, he's a pretty reliable fielder. Is he going to make anything spectacular? No, probably not. But I mean, with the bat, you never know with this guy. What if he gets on a tear where he, has five home runs in the span of a week? But then you also know you're going to get a week out of him where he doesn't get a hit, strikes out 10 times, and you're going to be left scratching your head. So, Taven, I bring this up because I want to pose a question that I'll answer too. What do you make of the Nolan Jones situation, knowing the fact that, look, I think the Guardians are better off if you just say, yeah, we're going to let some of these younger guys try it out in the outfield. Sorry, Nolan, you're gone. But we know that he's going to stay on this roster and be a player with the Guardians at some point. So if cutting him is not the solution, that we'll just pose that for this scenario. Cutting him is not the solution. What do you do with Nolan Jones?
I think the only other thing to do is obviously send him down to Columbus. I mean, I think I've been pretty clear where I stand on Nolan Jones. I mean, he's probably my least favorite player on the roster. It's just a struggle every time he gets into the box. And even when he, does have that 1 week out of the 3 months, right? He just comes right back down to earth and he doesn't, just build on that. He looks a little lost in the outfield too, wherever he may play. Like he will make a couple plays here and there, but I don't think he's an ideal outfielder. It's just I don't know what to do with him. You're right, because you obviously traded for him. So the front office and the coaches and everybody in that dugout believes that this guy can be an everyday player. It's just how many, it goes back to what we were talking about last week. How many chances are you really going to give this guy with all that young talent behind him that can produce? I think you have to send him down to Columbus if you're not going to cut him. That's what would be my first option. But if not, I think the only thing you can do is really just send him down to Columbus and just hope that he can, just develop down there.
Yeah, I'm trying to look right now and see, by the way, what. Oh my goodness, we got things going haywire and everywhere. I'm trying to look and see what. Now I don't think it's many, if any, at all. Yeah, nothing. So and here's the other part of the debate that you said. I mean, the solution: just send him down to Columbus. He's got no options left. So if you want to put him down in Columbus, you're going to have to put him on waivers, which, I mean, I don't know if the team has a problem doing that.
I don't know if anybody's going to
probably not
claim him.
Right. And that's the thing is if no one claims him, then, well, he's going to get in. No one claims him, then he's going to end up getting put in Columbus anyway. So that's the weird, like, duality with Nolan Jones is, I don't know why you'd be afraid of losing him. I sure as hell am not.
No.
So I don't really know what the hesitancy there is either. So, Taven, being a prospect show too, before we switch over to the pitching, we do need to talk about some guys that were not brought into spring that we know for sure are going to start their season in the minor leagues. Not that we don't know that about a lot of these guys that are in spring training already, but there are some notable names, by the way, that we did not mention not getting an invite to spring training. Here are a couple of them from my book, and we can, go through some of the more interesting ones to you. Bennett Thompson did not end up getting his call. Mate Collado, I do not believe did either, unless he did. Mate Collado might have, now that I'm reading that. He did. He's played in a couple of games. Christian Knapczyk, I don't recall making an appearance in spring up to this point, which is correct. He has not made an appearance in the spring yet. Garrett House, same thing. Juan Benjamin, I believe Juan Benjamin has been in spring training in some capacity. Yep, he's played in 3 games. Tyrese Turner, I don't recall seeing up there. Welbin Francisca, there you go. There's a pretty big name throughout the organization. And I'm going to confirm this one before I say it because I want to be right. Okay, never mind. So I'm not going to say it because he's played in 4 games. But you get the point. There are some guys that have not yet made appearances in spring training. Jace Laviolette, I know, is probably the big one that everybody is watching for. And I don't believe Juniker Caceres has done anything in the spring either. No, he is not. So just a little thought experiment. There have been some guys that have not made appearances in the spring up to this point. Although, I mean, it's the spring. I don't know that you really have to replace Travis Bazzana's spot at all. Meh. I'd be like, okay, Travis, thanks for spending some time with us. Go do as well as you can in the WBC. And don't break yourself.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think, everybody on that list you named was correct. Have we seen Tommy Hawk yet?
Tommy Hawk, I don't believe has been up there either. So
I don't believe either. Yeah, that's obviously the biggest name that I've been watching for all spring. I haven't seen him.
Yeah. I don't know that we're gonna see. I don't know that we're gonna see Tommy Hawk. It might be an injury thing with Tommy, which I honestly kind of doubt because I mean his injuries seem to be pretty minor. But
yeah.
Anyways, we digress over to the pitching side of things now. Again, there have been some good performances. There have been some disappointments here and there as well. I mean, Gavin Williams has looked a little shaky. Tanner Bybee looked shaky. Logan Allen has looked shaky in a pair of starts. Cantillo is getting rocked. Parker Messick had a pretty okay start to kick off his spring. Daniel Espino started today, only pitched 1 inning, but he looked good. Slade Ciccone, same thing. Again, Bibby's had his struggles. And then a lot of these bullpen guys, I mean, are getting lit up. Like there's been a good amount of runs scored in the spring up to this point. Now, again, there have been your surprises and stuff there as well, but pitching doesn't really worry me too much. I don't think we should spend an exorbitant amount of time on the pitching staff because I think we know what it's going to be when it gets to the big league level and the season starts. But Taven, is there anything that is sort of plaguing over your head right now that you're like, oh man, this is really concerning to me, especially about the pitching staff?
Nothing crazy. Obviously, it's a spring, but I mean, one that we could look at is, I mean, Tanner Bibee yesterday went out there against the White Sox. Didn't look, great at all by any means. But again, it's a spring. I mean, these pitchers are going to take some time to figure some stuff out. Can't buy too much into it, but I mean, Bibee, we really need to see a bounce back year from him. I mean, I'm not saying last year was terrible from him because I think he was solid last year, at times, especially down the stretch. I don't think he started out great. But again, if he just limits the long ball and just pitches like he did 2 years ago, I think he'll be in fine shape.
Yeah. Here's the thing with pitchers in this. Well, here's the thing with anybody in the spring, by the way. For pitchers especially, though, you never know if a guy is like trying to try out a new pitch, if he's changing his windup up a little bit, if he's playing with a new arm slot. I mean, you just never know fully what a pitcher is going to be working through until you see it on the field. Same thing with a hitter. They could change where they stand in the box. They could change their feet placement. They could change their hands. They could change when they rotate their hips, how they move their hands, how aggressive they're being at the plate. So there are a lot of things that, I mean, seem really minor, but are really important to a lot of baseball players and even to a lot of people that watch baseball here as well. There have been some good performances in the spring so far. And Taven, I know you're going to use this as an excuse to say the spring doesn't mean much, but Jack Leftwich has been good. Nope. Jack Josiak has been solid in the limited time he's pitched. Trevor Stephan looks pretty good coming off of injury. Sean Armstrong has pitched in a couple innings. He looks fairly solid. Tanner Burns, same thing. Walks a little bit problematic for both of those guys. Hunter Gaddis has only pitched one inning, but he's looked pretty good. I don't know. Have we seen Cade Smith throw an inning yet this spring? I don't think so.
I haven't on TV. I mean, I don't know, there's non-televised games, but
I don't think we've seen him make a pitch yet this spring. So
I think you're right. Yeah.
So that's probably one of the other names that we have got to watch for here as well. Taven, I really got nothing else on the pitching. So
yeah, nothing else pitching wise.
As far as guys with minor league options, I did want to touch on this a little bit because, again, if a guy struggles, when are you going to send him down? So George Valera does have one minor league option left. So there's the interesting part about him starting in the spring. Obviously, we don't have to worry about Chase DeLauder, but here's the interesting part when you want to talk about the infield. Gabby Arias and Brian Rocchio both have no options left. So even if Rocchio has this weird funk, you can't send him down the Columbus again and hope he figures it out. That's not a solution this year. But you can take a look at Gabby Arias and say, you're not producing, and then put him on waivers. And I mean, who knows if anybody's going to end up picking up that guy. I think it depends on how well he's playing, producing last year. Here's the nightmare scenario to me, Taven, and why I'm going through the minor league option stuff. Martinez with one, Jonathan Rodriguez with one, some of the other guys. Again, most of the guys down in the minor leagues have yet to see time. However, Juan Brito does only have one option left just because of the amount of years he spent in the minor league system. Pretty much everybody else has either got no minor league options left, or they haven't been called up yet, or they have too many to even worry about right now. But the reason I bring up the whole minor league option system is a little bit of a nightmare scenario for Cleveland. So entertain me, Taven, if you will. You got guys that are producing pretty well compared to what they usually do and what they have in the previous years in Cleveland. And then you have a young guy who's really hot, maybe hitting over 300 in Columbus. That, I mean, Gabby Arias playing shortstop. Let's just say it's Travis Bazzana that's in Columbus and he's hitting like 350. Well, you can look at your infield and say, okay, we have Rocchio, we have Arias, but neither of those guys are really plaguing your team. Like Rocchio's figured it out and he's stayed hot. And then Gabby Arias is there and maybe he's hitting 250. Again, it's not fantastic. Maybe not worth calling Travis Bazzana up fully. So you see where I'm getting with this, Taven? This just rounds out my point that I've hammered home maybe for the last 6 months, if not more. Guardians are in a very unique, good and bad position in where you've got all this young talent that you have to try to find a spot in the lineup for. But if guys are producing at the major league level, guys that are at the major league level and have played at the major league level are still young. So try to dissect what I've said in probably a very confusing manner to say, look, like, what if a lot of guys are producing? What do you do?
I mean, personally, if a guy is that hot in Columbus, I think you have no choice but to bring him up and find room because he will make room for himself. It's a weird dynamic with baseball because obviously you have the manipulation and all that. Now, what I think will happen is I think that they will try to keep Travis Bazzana in AAA as long as they possibly can until it gets to the point where they have to bring him up.
Probably.
I think you have to go with the hot bat. I think you got to go with the young kid, especially with Bazzana. I mean, Bazzana's not, 18, 19. Like he's played in college. He's been in our system for a year. He's dealt with injury. I think you've got to bring him up and see what he has. And then the thing with, obviously he would knock, say, an Arias out of the lineup. I think Arias stays on as a utility guy. And that might not be the worst thing for a guy like him to, just sit back and figure some more stuff out. And he can, obviously develop that way too. So I don't think you can go 100% wrong, but I definitely would bring up the hot bat.
Taven, I really don't have anything else on spring training. Again, more and more headlines will start to write themselves as they get closer to the season. And because of the World Baseball Classic, which we're going to touch a little bit on next. But anything else on what you've seen from the Guards in spring so far?
Nothing much.
Yeah. Nice to hear Hammy's voice again, though. That I will say. And that will never get old. Never.
No, it will not.
Never. But hey, the Guardians have, quick tally, 9 players, either major leaguers or prospects, that are going to be going and pitching in the World Baseball Classic. None of them for Team USA, by the way, but they look like this. Logan Allen is going to go pitch for Panama. I believe his parents are from there or something along the lines. Travis Bazzana, obviously we know, born in Australia. He'll go play there. Dylan DeLucia will pitch for Team Italy. Stuart Fairchild, a new signing, will go play for Chinese Taipei, a.k.a. Taiwan. Matt Festa is also going to go pitch for Italy. Dion Frias, it looks like he's going to be the starting third baseman for Colombia. So that'll be fun to watch. Bo Naylor looks to be the starting catcher of Canada. Ryan Prager will go pitch for Team Israel. And then, of course, Matt Wilkinson, tugboat, will go pitch in Canada as well. So, Taven, the question is this, and it's a perfect transition question I'll answer too. How much more or less stake, or no stake at all, are you putting into what you see from these guys in the WBC compared to what you do in the spring?
Personally, I think what these guys do in the WBC, especially against the teams that they're playing, I would put more stake in it, obviously. I think they're definitely playing better talent, especially if they're playing, a juggernaut like the Dominican Republic or Team USA, obviously. So if these guys are, obviously doing some stuff against these powerhouse teams, I buy more stake into that than some spring training games. And I think these guys do care a lot more about these games than spring training. At the end of the day, spring training, it doesn't matter for anything. It's just strictly development. The record, it goes back to 0-0 after March is over. The World Baseball Classic, it's for the country. These guys really care about it. I'm buying a little more stake into that.
So here are the pools for the WBC. In Pool A, you will have Puerto Rico, Cuba, Canada, Panama, and Colombia. Some sneaky teams in there. Again, Puerto Rico. That's going to be, I think, a pretty competitive group of death, if you want to call it. Pool B houses the United States, and I don't know that there's going to be much of a conversation here. Maybe Team Mexico has a little something to say. But their pitching is not as strong as it was 3 years ago. Italy, Great Britain, and Brazil. I mean, this is a group that I think everybody is going to predict the United States to run through.
Yep.
Albeit that being said, they took a 14-2 loss to Mexico 3 years ago. So we're going to look for that to change. Pool C is where a lot of your Asian countries, in fact, all your Asian countries are going to be. Japan, Korea, Czechia, Chinese Taipei, or Taiwan, and Australia there as well. So Japan going to try to defend what was their third WBC title last year. Korea's going to give them a run. Who knows what you're going to get from Team Australia and the Chinese Taipei, but probably Japan's group to lose. And then you have Pool D. You'll have Venezuela, the DR, the Netherlands, Israel, and Nicaragua. I do think the DR probably a good hefty favorite in that group. Israel, we've seen them make Cinderella runs before, a la 2017, when they made it to the second round and the proverbial knockout stage. Venezuela can give the DR a run in there too, but so much great talent. And Taven, I always say this is to many, it's not going to be, but to some, maybe it is. Representing your country is always bigger than anything else that you are going to do in life. We just got out of the Olympics. So many moments there for the skaters and skiers and snowboarders and curlers and anybody else that had Team USA written across their chest. And United States will look, they're going to be one of the heavy favorites here. And, the WBC title back in 2017 was not something a lot of people saw coming at that point. I think people are expecting a lot out of this Team USA.
Yeah, obviously. They have the best talent by far if you look at them. It's them and it's the Dominican Republic. That team, wow. I mean, they're gonna that in my opinion, I think that will be the championship when we get down to it. But yeah, Team USA, it's an all-star team. Obviously, right? They've got Harper, they've got Skubal, they've got Skeens, they've got the list just goes on and on. They're obviously the favorite in my opinion. We'll see if they're able to get the job done. One thing I do want to point out that I thought was kind of funny is Skubal is only making one start, and it's against Great Britain.
And Paul Skeens is also going to be making only one start as well. I don't know who he's pitching against. You hope it's Team Mexico, probably the toughest team they will play there. But I'm actually glad that you brought that up. It segued into my next question. Let's preview Team USA here, who I assume both of us are going to be rooting for. Obviously watching some of the other stories, and some teams are going to pull on your heartstrings a little bit, but when you talk about Team USA, I mean, you're only going to get one start from Skubal against the worst opponent that they're probably going to play, and then Paul Skeens there as well. You're going to have to get two starts out of two of Matthew Boyd, Joe Ryan, Garrett Whitlock, Clayton Kershaw. You're going to have to get two starts out of some of those guys. Now, you're going to be putting guys in the bullpen like Mason Miller and David Bednar and Griffin Jacks and Clay Holmes. Logan Webb is another starter out there, by the way. So, Taven with Skeens and Skubal only making one start, obviously it's to preserve them for the marathon that is the Major League Baseball season, and I don't fault them for doing that. But you're going to need one of these other guys to step up here. So would it be former Guardian Matt Boyd? Are we going to see Joe Ryan start to explode? Maybe this is Logan Webb's time to shine. Again, all very good pitchers. Do we get a vintage performance from Clayton Kershaw? Who do you think steps up with Skubal and Skeens only pitching one game?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, obviously when people look at the rest of these guys, when they see the names of Scooball and Skeens, nothing's going to jump off, that roster like, oh, like an intimidation factor. But these are very good pitchers. These are 2s and 3s on any MLB team, in the league. I do think a lot of these guys are going to step up. I think Boyd, you're going to get some good starts out of him. I think Webb, and then that bullpen. I mean, you got arms upon arms in there. I think you said Mason Miller, and just guys of that nature. So I think the pitching staff will be fine. Obviously, the hitting is what really sets this team apart from everybody else. But I would probably say that they have the best pitching rotation and bullpen as a whole, opposed to some other teams. Because yes, these other teams might have a guy here and there, but not many teams even have a full roster of all MLB players. That's the one thing that sets the U.S. apart. Most of these other countries have guys from, leagues overseas and whatnot. So,
well, let's take a look at some of those bats now, too. Starting catchers projected to be Cal Raleigh. Never a bad idea to have another former All-Star behind him, and that's where Will Smith from the Dodgers is going to be sitting. I mean, this infield is just stupid. You're going to have Bryce Harper at first. You're going to have Alex Bregman at the hot corner, Bobby Witt at short, and you could put Ernie Clement or Gunnar Henderson at second. Maybe Bryce Terang is going to get a say in there as well. And then the outfield, Aaron Judge, Byron Buxton, and PCA is going to get that spot in center. Designated hitter, we all know and love Kyle Schwarber. One thing that is saddening, though, no Trey Turner. Really good WBC for him last year, and not competing in this year's version. But again, like you said, I mean, this team is stacked. This team is absolutely loaded with talent. Harper going to be playing his new position at first. Bregman, again, I was about to say new position, but it's not. His position over there at third. Witt, Clement, Goldschmidt, Terang, Henderson, probably one of Witt and Ernie Clement and Henderson. You can mix and match those three in the middle infield. Well, you're going to start Bobby Witt for what he can do on the base paths, obviously. And then it's all about guys in the outfield staying healthy. I mean, PCA had a little bit of injury woes that allowed him to cool off at the end of last year. Byron Buxton, we all know the story with him. But then you have the monster. You have the beast of Aaron Judge going to be playing center field. Kyle Schwarber hitting bombs left, right, and center. This team is loaded. This team is stacked.
Yeah, there's nothing more you could ask for, really. You'd like to see Skeens and Scooball make those other starts, but at the end of the day, I mean, the only bats that compare to this lineup is the DR. Outside of that, you should run away with every single game.
Well, let's look at to what I think is the biggest challenger to Team USA in their group. Again, beat Team USA in the last iteration of the WBC, and that's Team Mexico. Now, I mean, you take a look through this pitching standpoint, and I mean, the only guy that, well, there are a bit of guys that are going to jump off the page as sneaky, but the two guys that jump off the page and make you go, whoa, okay, we might have something here is Taijuan Walker and Andres Munoz. Those are really only the two guys that you look at there and you think, okay, if one of those two makes a start against the U.S., maybe we have a little bit of an issue. But I mean, their bats, they got some good guys in here. Luis Urias is here. Rowdy Tellez, of course, big macho power bat. And then the outfielders, you have Alek Thomas, you have Randy Arozarena, you have Jarren Duran. But again, nowhere near as stacked of a lineup as Team USA. But hey, man, sometimes in baseball, all it takes is one of these pitchers, whether it be Munoz or Walker or any of these other guys, to step up. Maybe they got something here. But I think there's enough talent on Team Mexico to make it interesting, but I do not believe it's going to be enough to get them beat. Great Britain, do I even have to look? I don't think so. I think we can move on. Brazil, I actually haven't looked too much into what Brazil has got. A lot of minor league names in their pitching standpoint. I mean, Brazil does not necessarily worry me too much. And then for Team Italy, watch out for them. They can be sneaky again. We talked about the Guardian Dylan DeLucia, also Matt Festa going to be pitching there. But this team's got some sneaky talent. You know, they have Aaron Nola, who, if he makes the start against the U.S., again, that's where trouble can lie. Michael Lorenzen, Adam Ottavino, they're all there as well. And you get into the lineup here. I mean, John Birdie, Zach DeZenzo, former Ohio State Buckeye, by the way, Vinny Pasquantino, Miles Mastroboni, Jack Caglione is there as well. Team Italy's got enough to be dangerous for you. So while I think the U.S. should run away with the group, you got some interesting talent on the teams within their pool.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, anybody can get hot on any day. And you just named a lot of good major league talent. So we'll see if they're able to string something together and maybe make a run here.
Well, the DR, I think, is the other team that we have to do our due diligence and push for. Jose Ramirez is not on the group play roster, but Ramirez very well could be joining the team when they make the proverbial knockout stage, which would join him in a list of infielders that included Jeremy Pena, Manny Machado, Ketel Marte, Carlos Santana, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Geraldo Perdomo, who's going to be underrated. I mean, a ton of great talent there. And then in the outfield, you have J-Rod, you have Juan Soto, you have Fernando Tatis, O'Neal Cruz is out there as well.
That outfield is, oh my goodness.
And by the way, Albert Pujols is going to be your manager for this team as well. So, I mean, just star-laden, ridden pitching staff: Sandy Alcantara, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Elvis Alvarado, Wandy Peralta, Juan Mejia, Gregory Soto, Chris Sanchez, Abner Uribe, Luis Severino, Carlos Estevez, Brian Bayo, Albert Abreu. I think I listed pretty much everybody that's on the screen right here in front of me. So, by the way, for catchers, Austin Wells is there. So is Augustin Ramirez from Miami. Pretty good catcher that, again, gets overlooked because he plays for the Marlins. So, Taven, no question, that's probably the biggest threat to Team USA, but let's also look at Team Japan. Obviously, you know, we can list off some of the pitchers that they're going to have. Yusei Kikuchi is there. Yoshinobu Yamamoto going to be there as well. Bunch of, fantastic players that have played over in Japan. Do I even need to mention Shohei, Masataka Yoshida, Seiya Suzuki, some of the outfielders there? Now, don't go sleeping on Korea either, because they got some nice talent over on the Korean side, of course, led by longtime major leaguer Ha-Sung Kim, but a lot of guys from the KBL will come over and pitch, so on and so forth. So there are some teams over there that can challenge, but Taven, to me, no doubt it's the DR that is probably going to be the biggest threat.
No doubt. And I personally, on paper, I think their bats are better than the U.S. I think the U.S. has the edge in pitching. So I think that's your final, if you ask me, if that's how the bracket works out. What I think those are the best two teams. Regardless, that'll be a really fun series.
Well, so what'll happen is you get the top two teams from each pool go into the quarterfinal round, and then whoever ends up getting out of the quarterfinal bracket, there's quarterfinal 1 and quarterfinal 2. So quarterfinal 1 is going to house pool A and B, which again is oh my goodness, I'm actually looking at the entirely wrong thing here. Sorry, 1 second. I thought I had the right thing pulled up, but I had 2023 pulled up. So, but I do believe it's going to work pretty similarly to what past years have looked like, and maybe I am off base in that statement. Oh my goodness, why is this picture so grainy? That is disgusting. Sorry, I'm having a whirl of a time trying to find a freaking graphic that's going to load properly. All right, here we go. Here it is. Nope. Never mind. We'll open it on Instagram. Where's my phone? We'll open it on Instagram. I know I saved it the other day. All right, here we go. So what you're going to get is actually like no group stage in the quarterfinal round at all. It's all going to be straight. So they changed it up a little bit, I believe, from last year. So what you're going to get is Pool A and Pool B. So the winner from Pool A will go play the runner-up from Pool B and vice versa. Same thing on the other side. So what, Taven, we potentially are going to get here is a U.S. versus Puerto Rico or Cuba quarterfinal, a U.S. versus Cuba or Puerto Rico semifinal, and then obviously on the other side of the bracket is the reigning champs Japan and the always fun to watch powerhouse Dominican Republic. So
wow.
People are making some predictions, and Taven, I mean, this thing all starts on March 5th with Pool C kicking it off. So, I mean, we ran through some of the rosters here. Let's use our best judgment and what we know. Would you like to make some predictions?
I've got the Dominican Republic winning the whole thing.
Okay, we're going straight there. I was going to ask for group winners first, but all right, we'll put that in the back pocket. Pool A, you got Puerto Rico, Cuba, Canada, Panama, and Colombia. Who's winning it? Who is the runner-up?
That's a good pool. Personally,
that pool's going to be, again, I think the most competitive.
Personally, I want Puerto Rico to win the whole thing. I picked them. That's my team I'm rooting for. I think they win it. I think Canada's the runner-up.
Okay, I like that Canada pick too. By the way, manager for Puerto Rico is Yachty, so that'll always be fun. I got Puerto Rico winning the group. I think they got enough of those stars there to help push them over the top. Like Seth Lugo is there. You have Martin Maldonado. You have Nolan Arenado, who's going to be competing for Team Puerto Rico in this year's WBC. And then in the outfield, Willie Castro, Heliot Ramos, Matthew Lugo, MJ Melendez, Eddie Rosario. And you got a pretty smart guy, if I do say so myself, as your manager in Yachty. So I think Puerto Rico is going to win the group. And again, I agree with you. I think Canada is going to end up doing something here. Now, that also is the hope for Bo Naylor. We hope Bo Naylor's going to pop off there and do some good things, but also Logan Allen is going to be pitching there as well. Former Guardian Cal Quantrill is going to be pitching. They have Michael Soroka there. Canada's never a team in the WBC that's going to absolutely strike fear into you, but, you have the Naylor brothers batting. You have Tyler O'Neill. You have Denzel Clark. Owen Casey, however you pronounce the kid's last name, is just going to be phenomenal, I think, especially once he gets to the major league level. So I'm with you. I'll go with Puerto Rico, and then I got Canada, which now goes to Pool B. So I think it's no secret U.S. probably wins that group, but who's your runner-up?
You able to rattle off the names real quick?
Mexico, Italy, the GB, and Brazil.
Between Mexico and Brazil, I'm close on them. I'll go. Wow, this is good. I'll go Mexico.
I'm also going to go Mexico. I actually would be between Mexico and Italy for me personally. And maybe Italy shocks the world a little bit. So, okay, that's going to set up U.S. versus Canada. Like, we haven't seen that story before in the recent Winter Olympics. But, it also sets up Mexico and Puerto Rico, which could be fun. Other side, Pool C, Japan, Australia, Korea, Czechia, Chinese Taipei, a.k.a. Taiwan. I got Japan winning the group, and I'll go Korea as the runner-up. We'll hope for Travis Bazzana's sake that Australia finishes in third, which, maybe.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think, Japan obviously is going to win it. I think second, give it to Korea, and then I think Australia could hang around, do some damage here and there, but not a lot of star power.
Yeah, Czechia, I think, is just going to be what they are. Watch out for Chinese Taipei, though. I mean, there's some good talent that's on that roster, of which I literally looked at this the other day. I was just talking to someone. about this. Again, there's some sneaky names that are on this roster. Also, Guardian Stuart Fairchild going to be pitching there as well. So don't sleep on Taiwan, but I don't think they do enough damage. And then Pool D, Venezuela, the DR, the Netherlands, Israel, and Nicaragua. Here's the thing. You got two. It's a layup for the winner in the DR. But
I would say second too. With
well,
Venezuela.
I would say so too, and that's my prediction. But you look at two teams like the Netherlands and like Israel that have made these Cinderella runs before. They have enough major league talent to, I think, compete. Do they have enough major league talent to push fourth? I don't think so. I think the Dominican and Venezuela probably lock up first and second in that order. But I would watch out for the Dutch and I would watch out for the Israelis. I think they both are going to end up being pretty tough outs.
Yeah.
So, again, two teams that have made Cinderella runs before. All right, so we're both in agreement on pretty much everything here. So, quarterfinal round is Canada versus the U.S. We get them again.
Yeah.
U.S. wins that one. Apologies to the Naylor brothers.
Yeah.
Apologies to the Naylor brothers. And then Puerto Rico versus Mexico. I just don't think Mexico's pitching is as good as it was in 2023. So I'll take Puerto Rico to move on in the next round, which I believe would set up the U.S. versus Puerto Rico in a semifinal game.
Yeah, have to agree there.
On the other side, you will have Team Japan, who is going to end up playing Venezuela. Now, here's where things get tricky, is on this side of the bracket, because Japan, I just don't think they're going to be as good or as special as they were in 2023. Obviously, you have Shohei. Shohei is going to do a lot for that team. But Venezuela, man, they got some cats on that team that I'm going to be really, really interested to watch.
They have Acuna this year?
That's what I was just about to check. I do know that they have Ranger Suarez that's going to help pitch for him, William Contreras, and Salvador Perez, Wilson Contreras as well. But, I mean, listen to some of these names. Andres Jimenez, Michael Garcia, Luis Arias, Eugenio Suarez, Ronald Acuna is there. Jackson Chourio is there as well. You know what? Let's throw a little chaos. In this match, I'll take Venezuela to pull the upset.
I'm going to go with Japan, but I do think it will come down to a run or two.
I think Venezuela gets into the semifinals where they will play the DR. The DR will play Korea in our brackets, both of ours, and I think the DR wins that. And we'll stick with that theme there because I don't know if it matters if it's Japan or Venezuela. Again, rematch of a group play game. DR should be moving on to the championship game there. And then you have the U.S. versus Puerto Rico. Again, a lot of storylines there. 2017 WBC final where the U.S. just ran through them. I think it was 8-1, 9-1, something like that. And U.S. going to try to hope to get them again here. I think it's interesting, but I do think that the U.S. and the DR are sort of on this collision course to meet on March 17th in Miami.
Yeah, I think no doubt the U.S. is going to, take this one. Could Puerto Rico stick around? I think they could, especially in the beginning. I think it's going to be a slugfest, if we're being honest, especially when we get that late. I think both bats are going to get rolling. It's not a knock to the pitchers, but I don't think you have a Skubal or Skeens going.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a slugfest, but I think the U.S. is going to get it by, 3+ runs.
And then the U.S. versus the DR, probably the matchup that everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
Again, there is no storyline with Trout and Ohtani. Team Japan versus Team USA, as Trout is not a member of the team this year. But, again, you have the U.S., you have the DR. I mean, two teams that now look, this thing changes dramatically if Jose Ramirez ends up joining the DR. Because I think if that happens, I mean, the DR pushes the U.S. Maybe it's the Patriot in me. I know you already said your prediction. I think the U.S. has got a little bit more. Little extra edge, little extra kick that can make them go. And I think the US wins the WBC. I think they get their second world title.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. With or without Jose Ramirez, I think the DR gets it done. I think especially with Jose Ramirez. I do think the U.S. has better pitching, but at the end of the day, I just think the DR is a more well-rounded team. I think their bats are better, especially that outfield is absolutely insane.
That outfield's ridiculous.
I'm going to go with the DR here.
Well, the U.S. does have a pair of tune-up games, as do a lot of the international teams. Again, a lot of tune-up games going to be going on March 3rd as exhibition. March 4th, same thing. A lot of things going to be going on there. In fact, I actually think we do have a pool play game on March 4th. I believe Chinese Taipei, aka Taiwan, and Australia are going to be facing off. That's going to end up being a pretty late game there. I think 10 o'clock Eastern time. But hey, you want some world baseball? I mean, two teams that could be sneaky in Pool C. I would go check them out and watch them. Taven, one of the US's tune-up games is going to be against the Colorado Rockies. So
hopefully that's streamed. I'd love to see how that goes.
It's going to be on the Rockies network.
Nice. I might have to somehow find a way to watch that.
But things really kick off on Thursday, March 5th. You have got Czechia and Korea facing off way early. And actually, Czechia, to us, is going to play twice in one day. But they play at 5 a.m. our time and then at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They'll take on Korea. They'll take on Australia. U.S., though, they kick everything off on Friday. Now, I hear all of you asking, Nate, Taven, where can we watch all these games? Fox Sports 1 and 2, also on Fox. And I do believe that Tubi is going to be streaming a lot of these games. So, but games are pretty much going to be going on all day. Like if you can find a way to work from home, if you can find a way to call in sick, or maybe you're saving it for March Madness. I don't know about you. I love the March Madness. I'll find a way to take a sick day here. Hopefully no one from work is listening. Just kidding. Kind of. But Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, Fox, I should say FS1, FS2. Tubi is going to be streaming a lot of games. But there's baseball from the crack of dawn until, well, into the evening. U.S. kicks off group play like this. They are going to be playing Brazil. That is at 8 p.m. on Fox on Friday. Then on Saturday, the U.S. is going to be playing Great Britain. On Sunday, I believe, is their day off. Sunday is their day off. Monday, the U.S. is playing Mexico. So big game Monday night. And then on Tuesday, on FS1, they take on Italy, and pool play wrapping up on Wednesday, March 11th. And then you get into the quarterfinal round on Friday, and you go from there. So going to be a fun tournament. Can't wait to watch that. And again, I don't got anything else as far as that goes.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Mr. McCully, if we don't have any more talking points, I know I don't. I'm pretty talked out. I think I said everything I need to say. What are we looking at numbers wise today?
Numbers wise, unannounced, little out of nowhere pop-up stream, 28.
Okay. Hey, I'm gonna take it. Hey, we are in March now. Baseball is happening this month, like real baseball. That matters. If you don't pay attention to spring training, okay, fine. If you don't pay attention to, the WBC, which you absolutely should, that absolutely matters. But as far as the clubs go, Major League Baseball, March 26th. So we got not much longer now, already under a month to go before baseball officially kicks off and is back in full swing. Pun intended every time that gets said. Every time. I don't care. Every time, pun absolutely intended, baseball is going to be back in full swing here this month. If not, it already has been. Yeah, we'll start putting out some tweets and stuff again. We'll start doing a lot more with the Baseball Banter broadcast. Thank you, Jeremy Larquente, for giving us the opportunity to be a part of your company. And especially as it gets into baseball season, we know that he'll like what we produce, and we'll produce a lot more for him as well. Try to do our best. So, Taven, it's a busy time for high school basketball in the great state of Ohio. Where can they find you at?
It is at Stark Sports Coverage on Instagram for everything Stark County, playoff basketball. We're getting into full swing. Got McKinley starting it up this week, looking to make that state championship run. Can they do it? We'll see. But got a lot of good teams here. Massillon, Hoovers, they've got a legit chance to do some damage. So should be fun in full swing. And then got D2 College starting up with Walsh in the GMAC championship tournament this week. So got a lot going on. These next 2 weeks are going to be really fun.
Yeah, did have to ride with your dogs there. Who are you picking to win these state titles, by the way? I have the list in front of me, but I want to hear it from you.
I'm riding with McKinley D1. Do I think they'll get there? They've got the talent. Will it click? We'll see. D2 Westerville North. I mean, ever since I saw them play Perry last year in the state championship, that is the best high school team I've ever seen play in person. They're a different animal. I got to go with them. D3, I think's just a toss up. So I'm gonna take Alliance. They're the D3 powerhouse around here. We'll go with Alliance. D4 Lutheran East, and after that is where I kind of
D5 is Lutheran East. I think
D5. Okay, D4. Yeah. Who did I pick for D4?
I can tell you if you
no,
it's
throw
Maysville.
Out Maysville
and then go back to back.
Who was Division 6 and 7?
For you, it was Marion Local, and then I saw that. Don't think I didn't see that. It's Marion Local, and then Delphus St. John's with the beast that is Cam Elwer.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. What did I text you? What did I have? So D1, I got Lakota West.
Yeah,
top team in the state.
The smart
top team in the country. Far. And I mean, Lakota West, I don't think they run through D1, but it's going to be close. Lima Senior, I got win in D2, just about 40, 50 minutes up the road from where I'm at now. Team that I didn't get the chance to watch play, but maybe I'll have to go up there because that's a fun team. Again, D3 is the toss-up division. You have Alliance, you have Toledo Central Catholic, you have Garfield Heights, and I know our boy Marshawn Powers is going to try to get his Warrensville Heights Tigers up there, but I'll go with Garfield Heights. That's the team that I got going. Maysville seems like Warrensville Heights is in D4. That's who our boy Marshawn Powers is going to try to get there in D4. But I mean, pretty much everybody I know is picking Maysville to win that thing, and they've been the best team in D4 all year. The Urbana Hill Climbers, local team around here. Hopefully they can make a little bit of a run, but they got to run into a talented Oakwood team out of the Dayton area here on Tuesday. Lutheran East, D5, pretty easy one to cement down there. For D6, I'm going to throw a little curveball, but I'm going to go Tri-Village. I'm going to go Tri-Village in D6 and D7. Cam Elwer, a guy that I've seen play live. I mean, stud. I'll go with Delphus St. John's and the Blue Jays. So
there it is.
That's what I got going on. That's what we all got going on. D3, by the way, and where you've all picked with All Ohio Hoops and so many other names, right? That have went out there. And what am I trying to say? Yeah, just you made all the picks with All Ohio Hoops. I need to know, did he reach out to you? Did you reach out to him? How'd that happen?
He did. Reached out to me, said,
That's
hey,
awesome.
You want to be a part of this? I was like, obviously. We'll put our best outing out there. I think the majority of them I should be close on. McKinley's the only one that we'll see, man. We'll see.
The majority of them, you probably will get a team in the Final Four. Alliance, maybe, but I mean, Maysville's going to be there. Delphus St. John's going to be there. Marion Local's going to be there. Lutheran East is going to be there. And
Westerville will definitely be Final
yeah,
Four.
Westerville North will definitely be there as well. Westerville North and Lima Senior is a state title game that I just need to see.
Yeah.
And we did see it earlier this year, but I do know that Foster Kid for Lima Senior did not play in that game. So we need to see both these teams at full strength.
For sure.
Absolutely. All right, we're done rambling about high school basketball. You can find me at Tailgate Nate 29. You know, everything I do here with baseball banter. Starting to get out to a lot more of national stuff as well. Going to start covering all the different Buckeye events, and we'll try to get up to some Guardians games with a press pass. We'll get up to some Cavs games as well, maybe in future years. The Crew, the Blue Jackets, we have a fun time in the national sports scene, but locally, a lot of good high school basketball teams here in Champaign County. We got one girls team left alive, and we got 4 boys teams left, although one of them is going to get spanked on Monday. They somehow got a bye all the way into the district semifinals, of which they're going to end up playing a number 1 seed, and the team's just not very good, so they're going to end up falling there. But yeah, lots of games on Tuesday. Tuesday is a big day for area basketball around here. We got Indian Lake, we got West Liberty Salem, and we got Urbana. So big day. All 3 pretty good teams too, by the way. So had a great game the other night on Friday. Oh my goodness. What a game.
Fun time. March is great.
Oh, love March. Yeah, March Madness coming up as well. Got the WBC. Don't forget, coming down the line, folks, baseball starts. You'll have spring football. The World Cup is coming to the States later this summer. Great time to be a sports fan right now. Hey, U.S. just won both gold medals at the Olympics. Shout out men's and women's hockey. And now we're going for gold at the WBC. We're going for gold at the World Cup. We're coming. We're coming, man.
We're coming. There it is.
We're coming. All right, Taven, send us out of here.
Well, we appreciate everybody for sticking with us. You can find us back here next Sunday, weekly. Baseball's in full swing, and so are we. And we will see everybody next time. Take care.